Right, so Charlotte. Now I was going to, well, should I say, I have made a Faraday cage. Lie down here. Ugh. And inside, I have a Ubertooth one and a Bluetooth dongle. The idea of this was to put the phones in. Like in my other Bluetooth MAC address debunking video, I was going to show that two stages of the phone. So the first one just be advertisements, say, I don't know, kind of like linking to headphones. And then the other one was going to be me downloading the UK's NHS Track and Trace app to show that every 15 minutes it recycles a randomized MAC address. You can check that out if you go to googledevelopers.com and just search Bluetooth API track and trace. It's just all the documentation's there. I mean, I don't know why these anti-vax scammers, get away with it really, because all that information, if you want it, is there. It's a bit blurry. So I was going to do all this kind of like fancy kind of thing in a Faraday cage, I suppose. Analyze the protocol. I don't have to do that now because of what happened with YouTube taking one of my videos down and my appeal was rejected. I'll never know why because effectively I was calling out some idiots who think there's nano machines in the vaccine when effectively all they were doing is just videoing salt hopper crystals under a microscope. It's as simple as that. But the video got taken down. They refused my appeal. But this has been happening to a lot of YouTubers at the minute. But anyway, that's a tangent. That's something for me and the community to try and wonder through why the algorithm is doing that to us. But anywho, so I don't have to do this now because of that. I was uploading my videos to Odyssey just for security and just so. Because YouTube just completely get rid of the video, then I can't really point anyone to it and say, hey, what do you think of this? I mean, last time it happened and the appeal got rejected, I'd actually copied Dave from EV blog in just to say to a bigger YouTube, like, wow, what do you think of this? And he was like, if I'd have uploaded it myself, that'd probably happen to me as well. So no harm, no foul. But anywho, sorry, in a tangent. So as I was uploading the videos, I went back through the Bluetooth video just to make sure it was the right copy, because obviously you burn a few copies off, the audio's not quite right, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. As you do as a creator. So I watched the videos through, or at least skipped through to the parts where I've memorised that, oh yeah, I changed something there, is that there? Or there was something because it was MAC addresses, it's that privacy barrier, because there's a couple of times I noticed, oh crap, it's sneaking out of the bottom corner, I didn't notice that in editing. But yeah, it was the right copy. So anywho, as I was uploading it, I watched it through, and I noticed that they couldn't have been using the Ubertooth 1 because the Ubertooth 1 literally has 3 channels in Bluetooth. Channel 37, which is like 2,402, channel 38, which is like 2,445 or whatever, then obviously channel 39, which is like 2,490 or whatever. It will only operate in them 3 channels. It really doesn't support frequency hopping in Kismet. You can do FHSS with it, but you're generally using the Ubertooth RX program from Terminal. I think Ubertooth RX, you can kind of use the FHSS bits and pieces, but generally if you want to do frequency hopping, you need 3 Ubertooths, 1 for each channel. The video in question, which we're going to look at now, it's just an Ubertooth, but anyway, you know what? Let's get on with the video and then I can explain that further.
Le fait de participer à l'expérience.
Ah oui.
Juste falloir une petite signature. Et donc vous serez le numéro 8.
On essaye de trouver un endroit qui soit vierge de tout signaux. 6F 12 DD BD 31.
I don't quite understand what positive and negative test results have to do with being vaccinated or unvaccinated.
60 F9.
So this is their supposedly live capture. Okay, let's examine that further. Here is my live capture with the Ubertooth 1. You'll notice it is Ubertooth 0 and theirs is Bluetooth devices. Well, this suggests bullshit because Bluetooth devices does not work with the Ubertooth in Kismet. It's clearly been done off-site. And if we go and select Bluetooth devices, you will notice that the capture stops straight away. It's because that is not a source for the Ubertooth for the capture. That would be a source for an internal Bluetooth card or other BLE device, a dongle maybe, but not the device which is the Ubertooth 1. Now if you look at the signal, NA, the RSSI is not applicable. Again, suggesting this has been done off-site. If you look at my signal reading, it's there. It's negative 60, 70, 80 decibel. So what they could have done is gone to all devices. If they wanted to be, you would still know it was bullshit, but if they wanted to be convinced, so all devices still works. And you'll notice that FHSS is apparent in their capture. For a Bluetooth dongle, that is the capture. It is frequency spread spectrum. But when you look at mine, I am on channel 37. The Ubertooth 1 only works on channel 37, 38 and 39. To do a FHSS capture, you need 3 separate Ubertooths, and you need to write a program in Python and Scapy to correlate that data into one stream. But anyway, on with the rest of the little clip of video I've got from them. So there's a lot of browser windows open here. If they're in a field with no signal, that probably wouldn't be so, which would suggest this monitoring has been done off-site. And here you'll see they made a noob mistake as a Linux user. They have a problem with the apt-get install and the return for the Kali Linux repositories. Any Linux professional will know how to update the repositories. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Obviously I debunked this in my previous video, up here or up there or wherever. Yeah, so more on the Ubertooth really. So the Ubertooth 1 is a great bit of kit. I've had this for a few years now. I work in cybersecurity, so we get these weird kind of, but in work in our labs, we have some serious kits. But this is nice just to have in your kit bag with other, kind of RF hacking tools. These jobs are becoming few and far between now because stuff to do with like the ISM bands, Bluetooth, say it's a point of sale system now that's Bluetooth connected to an iPad. You see them a lot in shops and stuff. These protocols, because of people like me and other people in the industry and colleagues, they're very secure now. So it's becoming less and less of a kind of a random contract. Can you just go through this wireless protocol we're using for these payment systems, or this wireless protocol system we use for our internal security system or alarm system, or anything you imagine it. There's there's a small MCU either running on an ARM-based chip, or it's on an 805 on assembly or something like that. It's just everywhere you look. It amazes me over the years how I kind of just now every day look at stuff. I mean, I'll look at traffic light systems. I'll look up at the antenna, and I'll notice it's a 433 megahertz antenna, and think, yeah, yeah, you could jam that signal. You possibly could inject into it, and there's a lot of these systems now are attached to firefighting trucks, etc. So they go, and the light just turns green for them, and usual stuff, or closes the whole pedestrian square quadrant off and stops pedestrians from either side going in, but will maintain the lights as red, so the truck can go through, and it's just a red kind of box that it can drive through, so there's no contraflow traffic. It can turn left or right. Anyway, that's another tangent for the day. Yeah, so obviously these guys in the field, these French people, or these people from Belgium, they're clearly just bullshitting. It was done off site. They did not use this dongle. What they've done, they've possibly in a home address in a basement, or just in a home address away from kind of other Bluetooth sources. They've clearly used a bog standard Bluetooth dongle, grabbed a MAC address from the air. There's loads out there. If I was to plug this in now and put this antenna in the window, you'd be absolutely amazed. But a lot of the time, it will be the like NHS track and trace app. As say, if you go onto googledevelopers.com, track and trace API, Bluetooth API, go in there. There's actually a lot in there about how every 15 minutes it cycles and randomizes the MAC address. That's so somebody with one of these, like me, can't follow you round. And you can imagine you're an MP, or you're I don't know, maybe cybersecurity guy. You could work GCHQ, MI5, somewhere like that. And they could physically track you just because your Bluetooth is emitting its device name, its SSID, and its MAC address. So I could track that MAC. So the idea of this is just for privacy. So every 15 minutes it cycles. Now this is why these anti-vaxxers are seeing these random MAC addresses that they can't correlate to a manufacturer on the OEM databases and the OUI databases and places like that. And effectively that's all it is. It's just for privacy. And they get cycled every 15 minutes and they get randomized. It's so you're not producing your MAC address and you're not a trackable target for somebody from a criminality, or as I said, if you work for an acronym or government, then you effectively can be tracked. And they can track you to an area, and they can just war drive around the area until they find your MAC address. And via directional antennas and line of sight work, they can literally get an X and Y coordinate and pinpoint where your address is. And you can imagine if you're in those kind of circles, that would be a huge issue. So effectively, obviously that's extreme, but in the public interest, it is for privacy. We all screamed when we heard of these track and trace apps using Bluetooth. We all screamed, "Oh, my privacy! I want privacy! Can I have my privacy?" And the Google and Apple went, "Yeah, of course you can. Okay, we'll randomize the MAC, and we'll have it randomly generated every 15 minutes." Nobody can track your particular MAC address to a, say, certain restaurant, something like that. So you're not going to have like restaurants and stuff, and guys from legitimate tech firms could have reasons to track your MAC. So if you can imagine the track and trace app was just your MAC advertising all the time, and you went into a massive shopping precinct, they could track you from store to store and build a profile on you. Well, with the track and trace app the way it is and the randomization of the MAC addresses, effectively they cannot do that. So that's what everyone wanted, was privacy. Well, these scammers seem to realize this. They realize this, and it's quite clever what they've done, because effectively the anti-vaxxers are using a vaccine and public health tool against us. I mean, it's kind of like the guys on 9/11 with the jets. They use something that's an everyday mundane object, an aeroplane, and turn it against us. And this is what they've done. They've used an everyday mundane technical advancement in track and trace against us because the MAC addresses are randomized. Say go on the Apple developer site or the Google developer site and just Google, or search on their site for Bluetooth Track and Trace API, and all the information's in there, and everything you need to know is in there. So regardless of that, they've not really in this video not really used that, but a lot of people now you see them with the phones and the videos like, oh look, oh, you're vaccinated, and oh, there's all these MAC addresses and all that bullshit. Well, it is just bullshit. It is literally either people's track and trace, or it is manufacturers, say Shenzhen Co, who make a Bluetooth MCU in some cheap headphones or a cheap microphone, Bluetooth earpiece, whatever, or cheap smartwatch. They won't be on the OUI database, which is the first three octets of the Mac, which identify that particular device, say to Apple or Samsung, or they won't be on that, so they can't just use Apple or Samsung's OEI. They have to randomize it, and it just shows up as random or unknown, randomized or unknown in the return. So that's basically it. So the guys in the field was definitely not using this because one, its source was Bluetooth, which that doesn't show up as that source. And two, it used a frequency hop spread spectrum, which is standard for Bluetooth. But the Ubluetooth one, you would need 3 of these all listening on each individual channel, 1 to 37, 38, 39. And you would have to write in Python and using the Python plugin, which is Scapy. I think actually the Ubluetooth RX library, you can write in Python with that. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think there is a Python library. Yes, there is a Python library because I remember going through the directories when I flashed the different various firmware and obviously assigned this the USB to UDEV and all them kind of good things you got to do as a Linux user. So yes, there is Python backend and Python libraries driving it. So anyway, so yeah, you'd have 3 in a line, all plugged in, all taking an individual channel, and as the BLE device hops through the channels on the spread spectrum, you would correlate that data and you would basically pull it into a single stream and then have an algorithm to piece together the individual hops on the spread spectrum and piece that data together. These dicks in the field, they clearly, this is way beyond them. I mean, you could see on the top of their computer screen, the laptop screen, they were Googling, I can't access the Kali Linux repository. Well, that's because you're an idiot. And there was like a ton of browser windows open. So clearly they've had this computer away from site, and then they've gone to site. They've got one Mac. They could have sat there for days trying to get this Mac, and eventually one popped up from Shenzhen Co, who created an MCU in somebody's smartwatch who walked past outside the home, and they're like, oh, we have one. You know, like, sorry, it's a shite French accent, but you know, you get the idea. And, you know, they've dragged that to the field and been like, right, today's the day. And, you know, but basically what it boils down to, now, this is very, very, very important, is these people are con men. These con men have gone out of their way to deceive people. It's clearly to deceive people. It's not like they've got a return off the Ubluetooth one in the field and gone, oh, God, this could be a thing, and got it totally wrong and then bang their heads together and, oh, actually, yeah, we totally effed that up. It was just a random thing, and oh god, I went on Google developers portal on the official site, and there it is. Bloody hell! They just randomised the MAC addresses for the track and trace apps, and you know, OUIs are generally cheap Chinese manufacturers don't adhere to them because they don't have a license for them and stuff like that, and they've got God, we made a mistake. But these people knew when they captured that Bluetooth MAC address off site and brought that to site and then scared them people in the field. If the people in the field weren't in on it, that is. But not only scared the people in the field, but this video has done its rounds on Telegram. It's a viral video. I mean, it's on one channel with 500,000 subscribers. It's had 50,000 hits in the first day of it being uploaded. This is some serious numbers, man. And this is what's happening. And these people are just bullshitting people. It's lies. It's clearly lies. They've captured that, a random Bluetooth MAC address offsite on a totally different dongle. And then for some reason, I think what's happened is they've procured an Ubertooth 1. And I don't think they've been able to flash the libraries or do a basic CMake and compile it themselves in C on the system or whatever. They've just not known how to use it. So what they've done is they've captured it on a shitty dongle, unplugged the dongle, took the laptop to the field, and then plugged this in like it was this all along. But clearly it wasn't, because it's a Bluetooth device that was capable of frequency spread spectrum. And this is not, unless you have 3 of them. And they didn't have 3 of them. And I suppose if they did have 3 of them and they went to the extent to write that Python program to show that data, they would probably show the Python program and go, oh, look, this is how we did it. And that'd be more interesting for me personally. Like, oh, cool, okay, have you got a Git? Did you publish that to GitHub? Oh, cool, nice one, man. Yeah, I'm going to use this and adapt it and change it and probably write a Java front end for it and incorporate it in my other cybersecurity tools. But no, sadly, they didn't, because they're fucking idiots. Right, well, thanks for that, and I'm sorry to draw a very blunt conclusion there, but that's effectively what they are. They are idiots and scammers and causing mental instability amongst populations worldwide. It's viral, it's shared, it's a bloody disgrace. So thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. So the more shares I get, more subs I get, the more my content gets put out there, the more people see this, and the less people are susceptible to this kind of bullshit. Okay, thanks guys. Cheers for watching. Love you all, man. Have a good day. Have a good week. Cheers.